Buzz Hargrove was the union leader who predicted the crisis in the auto industry the day he concluded his last labor agreement as head of the Canadian auto workers in 2008. He said, quote, "I don't think GM, Ford, and Chrysler can survive in North America." As we now know, the unions played a key role in saving GM and Chrysler by agreeing to bail out the two automakers in exchange for ownership stakes. Both the UAW and CAW will cash in part of that investment today when GM completes its IPO. Joining us from Toronto this morning, former CAW president Buzz Hargrove. Buzz, good morning to you. Let's start off by asking you this. What is today's IPO going to mean to the unions? We've heard a lot about what it's going to mean for the government and what the government is going to have to do to break even. How about the union side?
Well, firstly, I think it shows the importance of the support that the U.S. and Canadian and Ontario government gave to General Motors to give them this opportunity. For the union, it means we still got tens of thousands of people who are working in the auto assembly plants, the auto parts plants, and there is an opportunity when you look down the road at some of the predictions that General Motors is going to start making a lot of money for people to start getting back some of the things that they were forced to give up during the crisis.
Well, that raises a very important question, Buzz, because Ron Gettelfinger, the former president of the UAW, a good friend of yours, I'm sure, has said, quote, "I truly believe we have bottomed out as a union and that going forward, labor will be there getting our fair share." Is that, in your mind, based on what you just said, a notice that collective bargaining in the future will be perhaps as bitter and divisive as ever? Or is there a new spirit of cooperation between organized labor and management?
No, I think there's a new spirit of cooperation. I think there's a better understanding that there's nothing that lasts forever, and you have to be constantly on guard, so to speak. You have to be willing to make changes and make them in advance of a crisis, as opposed to waiting until the crisis forces the changes on all of us.
Well, Buzz, as you well know, the North American auto industry got into crisis largely because of cost. The companies were not manufacturing vehicles at a competitive cost. Things are more competitive now, but you're going to get pushback if you're in organized labor from management when it comes around to the next collective bargaining agreement. Give us a sense of how you think things are going to play out.
Well, first, I reject completely, Eric, that the problem was cost. The price of building a vehicle today is lower than it's ever been in its history. Prior to the crisis, about 7% of building a vehicle was labor cost. Our problem was the financial crisis and the unfettered imports that come in from Asian countries like Japan, South Korea, and soon to be followed by China. Those were the issues that caused the crisis and the overall financial crisis. Caused sales to drop 40%.
If imports were the issue, I mean, the imports are coming in at a lower cost because they're being made for less money, aren't they?
They're coming at a lower cost because the Japanese are great at manipulating the yen, and they protect their home market from imports or exports from U.S. and Canada into their market. They protect their market while they charge our market or assault our market by underpricing, doing a whole lot of things, Eric. But none of it's none of it was fair.
Buzz, one last question before we go. What do you think it's going to mean to organized labor to be a shareholder in a public company like General Motors the way it hasn't been?
Well, the interesting thing this morning is it's not just labor, it's the governments. I see in this latest offer that the government of Kuwait and the government of China, through one of its major state-controlled auto companies, are buying into General Motors at a time that the U.S. government and the Canadian government are saying, we want to get out. Who's the smart ones here? Is it them who say this is a great deal, a great investment for the future, or is it us in our governments in North America that are saying, let's get out of this great deal? I'm not sure what we're doing is rational here, Eric.
Buzz, thanks for joining us. Buzz Hargrove, former president of the CAW, on GM's IPO day.